Hi, everyone. I'm Meryl Stewart, CEO of Marketing and Business Solutions. I hope you're doing great today. I wanted to talk about volunteers. This has been something that's come up in some of our recent engagements with clients, and really how to best utilize volunteers so that they can be something that supports an organization or a business and doesn't become a hindrance. So I wanted to talk through a couple tips today and just helping you reframe your thinking a little bit on how to use volunteers so that it helps you in the best way possible. So I think a lot of times we think about volunteers and, what comes to mind is, oh my gosh, I'll have this extra workforce of people. I'll have all these extra hands to help me with things that I need to get done. I'll have all these passionate people that can go spread the word about what we do. And those are all very great benefits. But there's also could be potentially a challenging side to that. It's extra people to manage. Those people may have strong opinions. It may be challenging to kind of manage that and balance that with your current workforce. So a couple things that come to mind as we've been talking through some other projects with clients about how to really best utilize volunteers. It's really important that you kind of think about them like employees. They are, just as eager to get something done and just as excited to support what the work is that you're doing. But you also have to guide them and manage them as if they were employees in many respects. So the first thing I tell people to do is you have to set expectations and boundaries. It's really important that volunteers, just like any other person, know exactly what it is that's expected of them. They know exactly what the hierarchy of elevating concerns or decision making is. They also need to know what boundaries there are, the boundaries they can't cross because they are volunteers. And setting those in the beginning makes it a lot easier on the back end. It kind of helps you avoid those pitfalls of falling into difficult management situations or having rogue volunteers or people that are going and doing things that maybe you didn't expect them to do. So setting expectations and boundaries is the first and foremost piece. The second is to really think about their strengths. I think a lot of times we have someone that might, come in as a volunteer, and this could be, in a for-profit company. You might have an employee committee or maybe a group of volunteers from outside of your office or space that are doing something within organizations, nonprofits. Obviously, many of them are very dependent on volunteers. But a lot of times we post a position or we post, a need, and then someone signs up for it. And there isn't a whole lot of discussion that goes into what strengths that person really brings to the table. And I believe that, everybody has strengths and everyone has weaknesses, whether we're willing to admit them or not. But the strengths are really important to consider, because if you're talking about engaging a human in the process of helping you do something, it is much easier to play to their strengths than to find out that once you've placed this person, now you're kind of stuck with them in this spot, and it's a lot harder to kind of move them into something else. So in the beginning, when you are first kind of like post this position, you're looking for help with something, I think it's a really great idea to ask people what they think their strengths are, to talk to them about what are the things that they're really good at or that they're passionate about, and try to find the right match within your needs to what it is that they can provide. That will set you up for success 100% of the time. But if you don't ask those questions, it's a lot harder to discern that until you get into a problem situation, and then you've got to deal with that instead. Another thing that's really important about volunteers, and I know that we hold employees accountable this way, is setting metrics, and kind of performance measures. I know that might sound strange and sound maybe out of place for some of you that think about volunteers differently, but they're responsible in a sense for helping you as part of your business, as part of your organization, to get something done, to accomplish something, to help you move towards the goal that you want to achieve. And so it makes sense that they would also need to know what those performance measures are. What is it that we're trying to accomplish, so that they can kind of pace themselves and hold themselves accountable to helping you get to that goal. The other thing to think about is to have, weekly meetings or, bi-monthly meetings about, what's happening in their roles, responsibilities. Maybe they're integrated into part of a team where it's more of a group discussion. But to bring it up, to talk about it, make this something that's part of their general awareness, so that as they perform their duties in their volunteer capacity, that they're very much aware of where they stand and if they're at their goal or not. I think about that from, I've worked with organizations as an employee managing volunteers that have been, brought on maybe during a seasonal time of the year to help, accomplish something. And I worked with a children's organization for many years, and we adopted families out for needs for Christmas and presents for kids. And, a lot of the volunteers, would come in, day out, but they always wanted to know, like, have we met our goal? Have we done what we set out to do? And as staff, it was our responsibility to make sure they knew that, that they knew where we stood. Like, we're at 50% of our goal. We're at 75% of our goal. You guys are doing awesome. Thank you so much for your help. So letting them know where you're at along the way is something that's important to remember. I think the last piece that is critically important, and I honestly can't stress this enough, is appreciation and recognition. I think sometimes we get busy doing what we do in our professional lives and in our duties as staff members that we forget sometimes how important it is to recognize and appreciate not only our own staff, but our volunteers who are doing this for free. They're doing this out of a labor of love or passion or need, to participate in something and keep their skills fresh. They need to feel that we need them, that we appreciate that they're there, that we appreciate the skills that they're bringing to the table to help maybe offset workload for us in a different way. So coming up with some type of plan, even if it's something simple, it could be that on a quarterly basis, you do X, Y, and Z to thank your donor or your volunteers. And that brings me to another point, which is they could also be donors. I mean, especially if you're a nonprofit organization, your volunteers, many of you log their hours from a donation perspective. But I also know that for the most part, many volunteers come in as, true volunteers of their time and grow to become financial contributors, major gift donors. They may even be people that leave you in their estate, once they pass. So it's really important to treat them as donors, to treat them as important people that you respect and appreciate, and help them feel that connectedness with the organization or the business that they're volunteering with. I really think that if you leverage expertise, you leverage their strengths, you help set those boundaries, set up some performance metrics so they know where they stand, and appreciate them, that you'll have a much better success rate in managing and utilizing volunteers in your business or your organization. For more information about what we do, please visit www.mymabs.com. That's MYMABS.com. As always, please leave comments in the comment section. I'm happy to respond to any questions you may have. I invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel for other episodes that we've shared a lot of different types of information that could help you with your business or your organization. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.